Hello students, welcome back. So today's chapter is Morphology of Flowering Plants. So in this chapter we will be studying the structure of root, stem, leaf, flower, inflorescences, how to write a floral formula, and then some families and modifications of root, stem and leaf. Okay, so first I'll be teaching you roots, stem, leaf, their modifications, and then I'll move to the flower part. Okay, so let's begin. So in morphology of flowering plants, let's begin with roots. In a plant, you all know जो underground part of the plant है, that is the root, and that is the root system, and above the ground it is called the shoot system, right? The shoot system bears the stem, leaves, fruits, flowers, branches, whereas the root system is just roots. So let us begin with roots. What are roots? Roots are underground, non-green, negatively phototrophic, means they are moving away from the light. They don't grow towards the light. Positively geotrophic. What does this mean? Geo is the earth, so they are growing towards the earth, or they are always growing downwards, which anchors the plant, absorbs water, minerals, and synthesizes plant growth regulators. This, and also lends support. You can write and also lends support are the functions of the roots. Root does not show distinction of nodes and internodes, but how does root arise? क्या होता है? This is the seed, okay? This is the radical, and then this is the plumule. Clear? The radical gives rise to the primary root or the first formed root. It elongates. ये लंबा होता है और ज़मीन की तरफ it keeps growing. That is the first formed root is the primary root. Plants in dicotyledons, ये वाला जो first formed root है, it persists. Okay? And then it gives rise to secondary and tertiary roots. And in some plants, in monocots, what happens? Radical से root निकलता है, but then it dies very soon. Okay, then stem के base से thin fiber-like roots निकलता है. The first one is called taproot, and this is called fibrous root. Let me explain it to you clearly. So roots are of three types. Taproot, fibrous root, and adventitious root. Clear? तो taproot पे क्या होता है? Just the diagram that I drew. 1 second. Let me get another marker. The first formed root from radical persists, right? It grows, and then this becomes the main root, and gradually it gives rise to branches. So this is the primary root. This is the secondary root, and these are the tertiary root. This is taproot. Where do we see them? In dicotyledons, right? Most show this type of roots. Fibrous पे क्या होता है? The first form root dies. The first form or the primary root. The primary root is replaced, dies, and it is replaced by thin thread-like roots from base of the stem or base of the shoot, base of the shoot system. That is fibrous. कहाँ? Most of the monocotyledons. How do they look like? जैसे grass के roots अगर हम देखें, this is the soil, many thin fiber-like, right? And what are adventitious roots? ये तो हो गया दोनों. Any root which does not arise from the radical is called adventitious roots. ये हमें कहाँ बहुत सारे ऐसे जगहों में बहुत प्लांट्स में देखने को मिलता है. Some examples are banyan tree, monstera. If you see the stem of monstera, these are the nodes. यहाँ से कुछ additional roots निकलते हैं for support purpose. या तो फिर इन banyan tree में मैं बाद में आऊंगी. So fibrous root और adventitious roots को अगर हम देखें, fibrous root जो हम देख रहे हैं, that is also not arising, that is not the root that has come out of the radical. Radical वाला root तो मर गया, right? यहाँ का fibrous root is arising from the base of the stem, main stem or trunk, whatever you call it. Sorry, not trunk but the stem. So we can argue कि fibrous root is a type of adventitious root, right? पर ये भी है कि fibrous and taproot are the two primary roots which or are the roots which does the main function of anchoring. Adventitious roots जो है वो nodes कहीं और से भी निकलते हो, कुछ और function करे, जो भी करते, they don't anchor the plant, वो support का काम ज्यादा करते हैं, right? जैसे banyan tree में है, the branches are very widespread, ऊपर से जो roots आ रहे हैं, they touch the ground, but they were not the first one to anchor the plant. That is also a difference. तो ये argument हो ही सकता है हमेशा. It keeps on going कि whether fibrous root is a type of adventitious roots or not. Origin wise, yes, you can say, but function wise में एक similarity with the taproot है. Now, इसके बाद हम देखते हैं कि root का structure क्या है. Whether it is a fibrous root or a taproot, what is the structure of the root? Okay? तो अब हम देखते हैं the basic structure of root. Root में क्या क्या zones हैं. So let's begin here. सबसे टिप में जो है that is called the root cap. What is root cap? This is the root. ये root का सबसे last tip है. Root cap is a thimble-like or a cup-like structure, टोपी जैसा, जो इसको protect करके रखता है, right? जैसे हम टोपी पहनते हैं सर पे. So it is a parenchyma structure which protects the root cap. It secretes mucilage and does the graviperception. नीचे के तरफ जाने वाला ये geotropism दिखाने वाला, and that perception is done by this root cap. Clear? Aquatic plants पे क्या होता है? And in this process, as it protects, जो भी damage and friction होता है, that occurs to the root cap and not the root tip. ये रहा terrestrial plants पे. In aquatic plants, the root cap, they provide buoyancy to the roots and damages नहीं होते. Okay? Because it is in water, so friction तो होता नहीं है. So that is the difference between the root cap in aquatic plants and root cap in terrestrial plant. So ये हो गया root cap. इसके अंदर this is the root tip. यहाँ पे here is the region of meristematic activity. What does that mean? यहाँ के जो cells है, the cells are all meristematic. Meristematic cells means what? The features of meristematic cell anywhere is they are going to be thin-walled, isodiametric, compactly arranged, बिल्कुल space नहीं होगा, with dense protoplasm, right? Arranged compactly, and they undergo rapid division. They undergo rapid division, or they also help in replacing the damaged cells of the root cap. Clear? उसके बाद say for example यहां तक हो गया the region of meristematic activity. Then comes the region of elongation. यहां पे क्या होता है, the cells lose the power of division, they don't divide anymore. इन्होंने जो सेल दिया था अब they are going to elongate and enlarge. Okay, जैसे जैसे ये elongate और enlarge करते हैं, it further helps in pushing the root down, so this adds to the length of the root. Clear? Region of elongation loses power of 1 minute. It loses power of division. Cells elongate and enlarge and add to the length of the root. Okay, length of root. Above that, what happens? Just इसके ऊपर जो zone है, that zone is called region of maturation. Region of maturation में क्या होता है? These cells have undergone elongation, enlargement. Now it is time for them to differentiate and mature. Say for example, tissue differentiate क्या? Xylem, phloem, इनमें जो differentiation होने वाला है, you can get to see them here. The cells undergo maturation. जिस cell में जो deposition होने वाला है, all those activities are seen here. Okay? और यहीं पे the epidermal cells, इस zone के epidermal cells से the root hair come out. Clear? And above that, it is the region of all the matured cells. And this forms the bulk of the root. इसमें और कोई further changes देखने को नहीं मिलता. यहाँ पे जैसे region of maturation हो गया, mature हो गया, ऊपर की तरफ बाकी के सारे matured ही cells हैं. And that forms the bulk of the root. Root hair कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Region of maturation में. And region of elongation helps in adding to the length of the root. The root cap protects the root. Okay? और रूट पे क्या दिया हुआ है आपके देख लेती हूँ. यह रूट में बस यही तक है. तो इसके बाद हम देखते हैं modifications of root. Modify क्यों करते हैं root? Why the roots show modification? So the purpose of modification is to accommodate functions like storage, sometimes respiration, nitrogen fixation. Okay, to achieve these purposes, roots undergo structural as well as some physiological changes in them so that they can do those functions. Let's look at them. तो अब हम देखते हैं why are the roots modifying and what are the modifications. यहाँ पे पर्पस लिखा हुआ है and then the modifications that they show. तो पहला वाला हम शुरू करते हैं स्टोरेज से. What are they going to store? Obviously food. तो जब फूड स्टोर करते हैं the roots become swollen, right? यहाँ पे पहले हम टैप रूट का देख लेते हैं. Fleshy taproot becomes swollen. The primary taproot. Okay, which one? Neither the secondary nor the tertiary. It is the primary root that swells. Stem यहाँ पे reduced, discoid and leaves a radical. अभी तो it's winter season. I think now I'm regretting कि एक मूली और गाजर अगर होता तो I could have explained it. If you see a carrot, कैरेट का तो ये है, you would see थोड़ा सा green like एक disc like round होता है, right? ऊपर का स्टेम भी वहां पे reduced होता है. That also undergoes modification. फिर उस पे पत्ते ऐसे निकलते हैं like radical U फैन जैसा. तो when the तो क्या इन सब में क्या देखने को मिलता है? It is not just the root that is modified. The root, stem and the leaves are also modified. पहले देख लेते हैं टैप रूट में. When it becomes swollen, depending on the shape of the swollen part, shape of the swollen primary root, how can we classify them? Conical. It becomes cone-like. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Carrot. Cone-like means it is thick at the base of the root. One thing, base of the root हमेशा जो soil से लगा हुआ है, okay? And as it grows down like a cone, it tapers down. This is the primary root that has swollen. और यहाँ से एक आध सेकेंडरी रूट्स हमें देखने को मिलता है. फिर आता है फुसिफॉर्म में. फुसिफॉर्म में क्या, इट इज स्पिंडल शेप। अब स्पिंडल शेप का क्या मतलब है, इट इज थिकेस्ट एट द मिडल, फिर ये ग्रेजुअली they thin out. This is also the primary root that has swollen, and you may see few secondary roots. Napiform, thickest at the base, spherical, tapers suddenly. Beetroot का जैसे है, यहाँ पे example है beetroot, radish, carrot. Let me underline them. This is the stem, reduced discoid stem, गोल सा, बट अचानक से जाके नीचे की तरफ पतला हो जाता है, दैट फॉर्म इज कॉल्ड नेपीफॉर्म। क्लियर? फिर ट्यूबरस, यहाँ पे इट डज नॉट हैव एनी पर्टिकुलर शेप, यू कैन नॉट रियली डिस्क्राइब द शेप। जैसे यहाँ पे इट वाज कोन, यहाँ पे इट वाज स्पिंडल, यहाँ पे इट वाज स्फेरिकल, राइट? यहाँ पे ऐसा कुछ डिफाइन यू कैन नॉट डिफाइन, सो नो डेफिनिट शेप। वेयर डू वी गेट टू सी देम? मिराबिलिस एंड ट्राइकोजेंथस। ट्राइकोजेंथस इज परवल in common language. फिर fleshy fibrous roots का देखते हैं। The fibrous roots also undergo swelling to store food. एक होता है सिंगल ट्यूबर, नो शेप, कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? आइपोमिया में। यहाँ पे पूरे रूट इट swells into one tuber और that does not have a shape. Okay? सिंगल गुच्छों जैसा नहीं होता, यहाँ पे कुछ रूट्स देखने को मिल सकता है, वी गेट टू सी इन आइपोमिया। तो क्वेश्चन अगर आ जाता है जहां पे आपको 4 प्लांट्स के नाम दे दिए गए हैं, यू आर बीइंग आस्क्ड टू आइडेंटिफाई विच वन इज अ फाइब्रस रूट शोइंग मॉडिफिकेशन, और वहां पे कैरेट, कैरेट, रेडिश, आइपोमिया एंड बीटरूट दिया हुआ है। So keep it in mind, Ipomea is fibrous modification, not taproot. Then comes fasciculated. ये डालिया में देखने को मिलता है जहां बहुत सारे से tubers happen to be in cluster. Okay, that is in डालिया. Then for nitrogen fixation, ये हमें कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? In leguminous plants. Why the writing is like this? This is the taproot. In the secondary branches, do you see these nodules? Swollen छोटे छोटे बीड्स जैसे स्ट्रक्चर हो जाता है, which houses the nitrogen fixing bacteria. Then for respiration हमें कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? The respiratory roots are called pneumatophores. Okay, where do we get to see them? We get to see them in mangroves where salinity of the soil is very high. It's very मतलब waterlogged है and it's very highly saline. तो क्या होता है? The oxygen in the soil is greatly reduced. The roots cannot get oxygen. That is when the roots grow out of the soil. छोटे छोटे यूं structures होते हैं, and they bear these pores at the tip. These pores are called lenticels, and they do the job of exchanging the gases. They absorb oxygen from the atmosphere and also give out the carbon dioxide जब इनको देना होता है. And this structure is called pneumatophore. Clear? फिर for support, सबसे पहले हम शुरू करते हैं बनियान ट्री से। Prop roots, thick pillar-like roots from branches to soil. You all have seen a banyan tree, right? The branches are really large. They need support. Trunk तो एक है, so they give out these prop roots which grow from the branches to the soil. Okay, for extra support. और you grow करते करते in the old banyan trees, many times you'll not be able to see the main trunk. वो चारों तरफ prop roots से ही घिर जाते हैं. So prop roots also have root caps. Okay, when they touch the soil, थोड़ा बहुत root underground rooting भी कर देते हैं to anchor the big branches. We get to see it in banyan tree. Stilt root, नाम पे ही है, थोड़ा सा stilt. So they are also doing the job of supporting the plant. But what kind of plant? जैसे शुगर कैन देख लेते हैं. शुगर कैन इज वेरी थिन, नॉट वेरी थिन बट इट्स थिन, स्लेंडर, तो हवा में इट इज गोइंग टू स्वे अराउंड. तो टू कैच देम, जैसे हम टेंट को है ना रस्सी से यू ऑब्लिकली बांध के रखते हैं, सेम थिंग वी गेट टू सी हियर. शॉर्ट, थिक, ऑब्लिकली प्लेस्ड रूट फ्रॉम द बेसल नोड्स. दिस इज द शुगर कैन, दिस इज द सॉइल, दीज आर द नोड्स. जो फर्स्ट या सेकंड बेस है वहीं से ये स्टिल्ट रूट्स निकलेंगे, ऊपर से और नहीं. ओके, the nodes which are very close to the soil, only they give out stilt roots and we get to see them in sugarcane. तो क्या हो गया? Coming out from the nodes, which nodes? The basal nodes, the nodes closest to the soil. How are they placed? Not straight, but obliquely, तिरछा. Just imagine a tent. Tent का रस्सी जैसे बांधते हैं, that is why it's oblique. Please keep this minor things very clear in your mind, okay? Because बहुत बार ऐसा क्वेश्चन आ जा सकता है, आइडेंटिफाई द इनकरेक्ट स्टेटमेंट. पूरा डेफिनेशन ऑफ अ स्टिल्ट रूट इज गिवन, बट इंस्टेड ऑफ ऑब्लिक दे हैव गिवन स्ट्रेट रूट्स. एक वर्ड बदल दिया, ओके, बट यू विल थिंक इस पे तो कुछ गलती है नहीं, सो प्लीज कीप दिस थिंग्स इन माइंड. फिर क्लिंगिंग या क्लाइंबिंग रूट्स, दीज आर नॉन एब्जॉर्प्टिव, ये कुछ एब्जॉर्ब नहीं करते. दीज आर सीन इन क्लाइंबर्स, जो पेड़ दूसरे पे सपोर्ट लेके they grow, they just help in attaching the plant to the surface of which can be a trunk or the wall or any other thing. Okay, clinging roots ये टेकोमा, betel, पान, ये सब यहाँ पे देखने को मिलता है. Then for vital function, assimilatory roots. Vital function means what? The function which is important for the plant. Assimilatory roots. This is an exception because अब तक हम ये सारे roots में no one is green. This is the root which is green. Green roots capable of photosynthesis. Where do we get to see them? In trappa, water chestnut. Okay. फिर hostorial roots we see, और parasitic roots भी से हम कह सकते हैं. उनका काम क्या है? कुस्कुटा. They are growing on other plants. They are not making their food. तो वो hostorial roots से दूसरों का खाना they suck, or you can also call them the sucker roots or the suckers. They are absorptive क्योंकि उन्हें absorb करना. They absorb. Absorptive roots for absorbing nutrients. Where do we get to see them? In cuscuta. Epiphytic roots. Epiphytic roots are the roots which are seen on the plants which grow on trees, like orchids. Seen in epiphytes. यहाँ पे the roots help in clinging the plant to the trunk of the tree. Some roots grow and they absorb moisture from the atmosphere and also some moisture from the trunk or the bark. They don't have root caps. That is a difference. Instead of root cap, a dead spongy layer forms the root cap. Root cap is not leafing and not parenchymatous. Otherwise, in the roots of the underground plants, root caps are parenchymatous and leafing. यहाँ पे they are not leafing and they are parenchymatous. They are dead and they are dead and made of spongy cells. They help in absorbing moisture from the atmosphere. Okay, velamen is present and that kind of a root cap is called velamen. Okay, it helps in absorbing moisture from the atmosphere. So with this, we are done with the root part. So let's have a quick recap. Root what? It arises primarily from the radicle. How many types of roots are there? 3 types: tap, fibrous and adventitious. Only in taproot the primary root that arises from the radicle exists. In fibrous it dies. Instead it is replaced by thin thread-like structure from the base of the stem. Or adventitious roots क्या है? Any roots which is not coming out from the radicle. Okay. फिर आगे root के the zones of the roots. एकदम टिप से अगर शुरू करें तो root cap, meristematic zone, zone of elongation, zone of maturation, and then the zone of permanent cells or the matured cells. Sorry, not permanent, matured cells. Root hair हमें वहाँ कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? किस zone में? The zone of maturation, right? Who forms them? The epidermal layer forms them. Which layer adds to the length of the root? The zone of elongation. Okay? और उसके बाद modifications of root. They modify for storage, nitrogen fixation, respiration, support vital function and epiphytic. अब हम देखते हैं stem. तो root के बाद अब आते हैं shoot में, from underground to the above ground. Stem. What is stem? Usually the above ground erect part of the plant body that develops from plumule, bears branches, leaves, flowers and fruits and have nodes and internodes. यहाँ पे usually the above ground कहा गया है because stem can be on the ground which is prostrate and underground as well. That is why the word usually has been used here. they develop from the primule, right? So this is the seed, you know, primule, say shoot, and the radical gives the root. So stem always develops from the primule, and this, अब डाइकॉट हो, मोनोकॉट हो या जो भी हो, this does not, रूट जैसा नहीं है कि one stays and one perishes, okay? shoot रह जाता है. And they bear branches, leaves, fruits, of course. Shoot is differentiated into nodes and internodes. These are the nodes, or बीच का area, these are the nodes from where leaves and flowers are or branches arise. It can be a leaf, it can be a flower, or it can be a branch. And the place in between two nodes are the place in between two successive nodes actually are internodes. Or in the nodes they bear these buds which give rise to flower or a branch. Clear? So what is a bud? A bud is an undifferentiated, undeveloped, condensed tissue which is flanked by two leaves and which has a potential growing point. What is a bud? So bud is condensed, undifferentiated, undeveloped embryonic shoot that is flanked by two immature leaves. अब हम position के aspect से देखें, so the bud can be terminal from position, according to position. It can be terminal, मतलब एकदम टिप पे, और lateral. Okay, on the sides. What happens is that जैसे जैसे stem keeps increasing in length, what brings an increase in the length of the stem? It is the meristem that is present at the tip, right? That is called the tip. वो जैसे जैसे grow होता है, it थोड़ा थोड़ा meristem छोड़ के जाता है, right? So those in future form the lateral buds. Lateral bud has many types, but आपके syllabus और आपके लिए खाली axillary ही जानना काफी है. Axillary bud कहाँ होता है? This is the stem. ये node है, ये leaf है. Clear? This is the axil. This angle. यहाँ पे जो bud रहता है, that is called the axillary bud. Now, according to function or according to what they give rise to, function, buds can be vegetative or floral. If it is giving rise to leaves or branches, it is vegetative. If it is giving rise to flower, it is floral. So अब stems भी modifications दिखाते हैं. Some of the stems, most of the stems are erect, above the ground, and aerial. Aerial means like they are growing up straight. But some are above the ground, but they are not erect. They twine around, or they coil, or they take the help of something. Those are weak stems. So stems kabhi, they can be weak. They can grow on the surface of the soil, like they are never erect. वो हमेशा prostrate, horizontal ही growth दिखाते हैं, right? Or they can be underground also. Then stem में modifications आता है due to functions, like if they take the role of photosynthesis. Okay, so let us look into the different structural modifications of stem. Now let us look at few modifications of stem. So stem क्या होता है? It usually is an erect structure above the ground, right? Now if it is erect and not branching, it is called caudex. If it is erect without branching, it is called caudex or columnar. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? In plants like sugarcane, maize, coconut, palm tree, where you have a straight column, right? Or if it is branching can be of two types. Dichotomous is rare in angiosperms, वो in plants like Dictyota, which is an algae, bryophytes में जैसे Markinsia का टिप वहां देखने को मिलता है, एंजियोस्पर्म्स में काफी रेयर है. या तो फिर द ब्रांचिंग इज लैटरल, वेयर द मेन ट्रंक से द ब्रांचेस ग्रो साइडवेज. ओके, बट वो तो दे आर इरेक्ट, दे डू नॉट नीड सपोर्ट. बट देन देयर आर stems which are erect but weak. They grow with the help of other structures. That can be a trunk of another tree or a wall. So let's see कैसा होता है. Ascending में शुरू करते हैं ट्वाइनर्स से. दे शुरू करते हैं ट्वाइनर्स से. ट्वाइनर्स दे ट्वाइन अराउंड अ ट्री और एनी अदर surface, and they do not need any special structure for this. So if this is the tree, they would coil around. Okay, इनमें coiling के लिए कोई roots या कुछ extra नहीं चाहिए होता, they just coil. फिर आते हैं क्लाइंबर्स पे. क्लाइंबर्स दे डू नॉट कॉइल, दे क्लाइंब. इनका कैसा होता है, दिस इज द ट्री, ये ऐसा ग्रो करते हैं ट्री पे विद द हेल्प ऑफ रूट्स और सम अदर स्ट्रक्चर. नो डिपेंडिंग ऑन वो किस स्ट्रक्चर का हेल्प से दे आर क्लाइंबिंग द ट्री, दे कैन बी क्लासिफाइड एज रूट क्लाइंबर्स. व्हाट? स्टेम विथ एडवेंटिशियस रूट्स, ivy, monstera, beetle. Clear? Tendril climbers. यहाँ पे passiflora है. The plant is climbing. You have a leaf. You have this tendrils. What are tendrils? Thin coil-like structure which helps in attaching to the surface. यहाँ पे जो tendril है, tendril in itself is a modification. It can be a modification of a stem or it can be a modification of a leaf. यहाँ पे जो देख रहे हैं tendril climbers passiflora, this tendril is a modification of stem. जब हम leaf के modifications पढ़ेंगे, then also we will study modification of leaf में tendrils, which is a modification of the leaf, and that we get to see in pea. Okay, फिर scramblers, they also climb with the help of thorn in bougainvillea. Like this is the plant, ये leaf है, they have this thorns. Okay, thorns help in attaching to the substratum या wall, whatever it is. Then ये हो गए the weak stems which are climbing or twining. Then let us come to reduced stem. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? The stem is reduced to small disc, nodes and internodes not distinguished. Carrot and radish. Carrot का मैं दिखाती हूँ. I have a carrot here. ये तो carrot यहाँ हमें देखने को मिल रहा है. This is the primary root, and we get to see this root here and there. Do you see this structure? ये reduced यहाँ पे काफी हद तक काट दिया गया, but this green thing, small disc-like thing, this is the reduced stem. यहाँ पे सारे nodes, internodes चपटा हो गए हैं. We get to see them in carrot, radish, beetroot, और फिर इसके ऊपर से पत्ते they grow. Okay. Now let us come to prostrate. Prostrate means what? Or subaerial or on the ground, which are growing on the surface of the ground. They are never erect. Trailers. They spread horizontally without rooting at regular intervals. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Euphorbia and convolvulus में. If you notice, this is the herb, this is the ground. यहाँ से this branches spread in many directions. Okay, but they all are lying on the soil. They are called trailers. एक ही crown से बहुत सारे से branches होते हैं, and these branches do not root further. Clear? Then let us come to runners. Runners means what? Running from one place to another. Okay, the horizontal branch that develops from erect shoots called crowns. जैसे हम कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Oxalis में and in Cynodon. Cynodon is a grass, right? This is a tuft of grass. This is the ground. This is a fibrous root. Yeah. See, let me draw it with a different color. This is the soil. Okay. Parallel to the ground, it grows. Again, gives out root and shoot above. Clear hai? This is divided into many nodes and internodes. From the nodes, these roots are coming out and they are giving up the crowns. Next is offset. What is offset? It is nothing but a runner that is only one internode long. उससे ज्यादा ये होता नहीं है. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? In water aquatic plants like Pistia and Eichhornia. Eichhornia, which is the water hyacinth. Clear? Stolon. Stolon is also a modification of runner. The difference is they are arched. और यहाँ पे they may bear a scale leaf or a bud. ये arch है तो क्या होता है? Any obstacles that they face, they can arch over that obstacle and continue to grow. Clear? So these are the different type of prostrate stems that we get to see. One is trailer, another is runners. These two are nothing but modification of runners. One is offset, one internode long, which we can see in Pistia and Eichhornia. Another is stolon, where the runner is arched. Okay? और यहाँ पे nodes and internodes नहीं देखने को मिलते. Here it goes, it touches the ground and gives rise to another crown. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Strawberry and peppermint पे. Now let us come to underground stem. Stems can also be underground. But then how do you tell apart कि वो underground structure जो है, that is a stem and not a root? These structures will not show a root cap. These structures will show differentiation of nodes and internodes. Clear? So let us see. And they will show terminal bud. Sucker. Non-green slender stem arising from the base of an erect shoot comes out to form shoot. Chrysanthemum, banana and pineapple. ये runner जो है ना, यही runner को अगर हम underground कर देते हैं, what we get is a sucker. So say this is a plant. This is the soil. It is many internode long. These are the internodes. Okay? Just for your clarification, मैं ऐसा draw कर रही हूँ. The tip touches the ground. उठ के आता है. Then it again gives rise to another plant and root at the base. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Chrysanthemum, banana, pineapple. Clear? And this is thin and slender. बिल्कुल जैसा ये runner होता है, उसी का ही underground version. Okay? Let's come to rhizome. Now rhizome is what? It is a fleshy underground perennial. Perennial means what? They are going to persist year on year. Grows indefinitely, gives aerial shoot during favorable season. जैसा हम अदरक हो, टर्मरिक हो, उसको जमीन में गाड़ के रख दे. So when the season is favorable, you will see new shoot coming out of it. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Ginger, curcuma, which is हल्दी, Dryopteris. This is a pteridophyte. आपने plant kingdom में Dryopteris पढ़ा है. So if you are asked name the pteridophyte with a rhizome or which out of this following, ginger, curcuma, banana and Dryopteris is a fern showing a rhizome, so it will be Dryopteris and banana. Clear? Now this rhizome, it can either be straight या oblique या horizontal. और इनके underground, like this is the ginger, under surface से they give roots and they have these nodes and internodes. Okay? Next is corm. Corm is what? A swollen spherical unbranched ground that grows vertically. मतलब इनका structure कुछ ऐसा होता है. फिर यहां से they'll give rise to the पत्ता. they have circular nodes and they always are vertical in position under the ground. कहाँ कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? One of the important example is Zamirkand, Freesia, Gladiolus. You can write other examples like Gladiolus, Freesia. Zamirkand is the example that is given in your book. So they also show root at the base या on the undersurface. Rhizome also shows root at the undersurface. Sucker also shows roots. Now let us come to tuber. Tuber is nothing like our favorite aloo. Oval or spherical, does not bear adventitious root. आलू के नीचे से आप कभी roots नहीं देखेंगे. So out of this underground stems, underground modified stem, which structure does not bear a root? That is a tuber. Okay, please mark this. Does not bear root. Potato में देखने को मिलता है, artichokes में. They show nodes and internodes in the form of what? Let me draw the aloo here. ये आलू है. यहाँ पे कुछ कुछ जगहों पे you would see or you would feel some depression like area, थोड़ा सा नीचे है. Those represent nodes. और उस डिप्रेशन के पास ही एक हल्का सा रिज जैसा कुछ देख, you can feel it. That is the scale leaf. Okay, so these are the nodes और यहाँ से they can give rise to new shoot. So for propagating a potato, you have to have a piece of potato with at least one node in it. Clear? तो हो गया tuber. Then let us come to bulb. प्याज and लहसुन. Right? Pyriform, spherical, reduced convex stem with fleshy scales, enclosing one terminal bud, onion or garlic. So do you see this? Of course, प्याज तो सभी ने देखा होगा. Pyriform in shape. नीचे से roots है, इसके भी नीचे roots होते हैं. Do you see this white convex structure? This is the stem of the onion, reduced convex. Okay, इसके ऊपर these are the fleshy scales or fleshy leaves. और यहाँ पे this here you can see, and this one is the bud, terminal bud. Last से एक ये bud निकल रहा है. Okay, and these are called the tunics. Pink, ये leathery, covering like, these are sheath-like structures. These are the tunics of onion. तो यहाँ पे this is the root, reduced and convex stem. This entire structure is called the bulb, and these are the fleshy scales. And here you have the terminal bud. It has started to grow also. Clear? अब यहीं पे there is a difference. Onion भी है, garlic भी है. Here there is only one terminal bud, and these are the fleshy scales. In garlic, these are the individual bulblets. ये root हो गया, यहाँ पे stem, and these ones, ये एक एक scale को represent करते हैं, but these are bulblets in themselves, and they all carry a growing bud. इसीलिए garlic को हम लगा दे एक एक bulb को निकाल के, तो they will all give rise to garlic plants, whereas onion, only one plant will come out of the onion. Clear? So with this, I hope I have been able to explain the different modifications of stems in the form in which they grow. Now let us look at some of the structural modifications, some other structural modifications that the stem undergoes. Okay, और मैं इसको white करके यहाँ पे ये एक बार लिख देती हूँ this point. I hope this chart is helpful for you. You can take a screenshot of it. Okay. So बाकी का देखते हैं. पहले जैसे कह दिया था कि erect one trunk without branching is called caudex or columnar. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Coconut or palm, sugarcane, maize, which does not show branching. और जो branching दिखाते हैं, branching can be of two types. Dichotomous, where the tip, the terminal part branches into two, यूं forking हो जाता है, right? In angiosperm, it is very rare. Asclepia में देखने को मिलता है. This is an angiosperm, but we get to see in algae like Dictyota, Acacia, which is bryophyte. Lower forms में फिर भी देखने को मिलता है. or lateral means the trunk is then sideways से big branches are big or small branches are coming. यहाँ पे भी the branching can be of two pattern. One is racemose in which the main axis continues to grow and branches are borne in acropetal fashion. Pinus, pine tree या eucalyptus में, okay? And then cymose where the branch, the terminal bud, it has stopped growing vertically. The main axis has stopped growing vertically and branches are in cymose way. ये बहुत common है. Most of the trees you get to see this. Clear? Then culm. What is, जैसे bamboo में है, the nodes, these are in bamboo. Nodes are slightly swollen and solid. और बीच का ये पूरा hollow. Okay, this internode is hollow and nodes are solid. Such a stem is called a culm. Clear? Then let us come to stem tendrils. What are tendrils? Tendrils are thin thread-like structures which coil around and they coil around, right? This is a tendril. It can be a modification of a stem or it can be a modification of a leaf. यहाँ पे हम stem tendril का देख रहे हैं. And they are of three types. Where from they arise? They can arise. This is the stem. ये leaf है, right? Axillary. यहाँ पे एक bud होता है, which is called the axillary bud. So they can get modified into a tendril that is seen in passiflora. Extra axillary, which means ये this is the leaf, this is the bud, ये वैसा ही रहता है. The tendril would be somewhere here, okay? It would give rise to the cucurbita में देखने को मिलता है, and the axillary bud stays as it is, or it may bear a flower. Then leaf opposed in grapevine. This is the leaf. This is leaf opposed, another tendril. Then hooks. यहाँ पे the pedicels or the floral stalks, they get modified into stiff curved structure. Sorry, Artabotris में देखने को मिलता है. Thorns. These are common. These are stiff, sharp structure. Thorns show the presence of vascular bundle in them. Okay, it is a vascular bundle surrounded by a bark or the epidermal or the outer layers, which has lost its growing point. वो अब it won't grow anymore in length. It becomes stiff, hardened, curved, or it can be just pointed. Bougainvillea, Citrus, Duranta में देखने को मिलता है. Then phylloclade. Cylindrical or flattened. Flattened stem, the entire stem changes its shape. Opuntia का पहले देखते हैं. Opuntia में देखने को मिलता है euphorbia. Opuntia is the common cactus we all have seen, right? In Opuntia, it becomes flattened. In euphorbia, I think many of you can relate with the diagram of euphorbia. I mean, I'm not going to draw a very good diagram. वो भी ऐसा ही होता है. It is cylindrical, swollen. बहुत ही छोटे छोटे reduced leaves देखने को मिलता है और यहाँ पे we get to see spines. What are spines? Spines are modified leaves, highly reduced, thorn-like, very sharp leaves. They don't photosynthesize. They protect the plant. They reduce transpiration and they also protect the plant from grazing animals. Here, they both store mucilage, water, and they do the function of photosynthesis. और ऐसे structure को क्या बोलते हैं? Phylloclade, and they are swollen. Okay. Then come cladode. Cladode are also green stems of limited growth. Usually one internode, and they also do the job of photosynthesis. Difference क्या है? Asparagus में जैसे है, this is the main axis. This is the branch. वहां पे यूं पत्ते पत्ते जो देखने को मिलते हैं, leaf like small, these are the cladodes. In phylloclade, the main stem gets modified. It gets swollen. यहाँ पे the main axis does not get modified. It grows as it is. But the branches जो है उनमें ये modification देखने को मिलता है. And cladode also does the photosynthesis. It flattened, short, one internode long होते हैं. Clear? So these are the some of the structures, modifications of stem, structural modifications of stem. Another very important modification of stem is thalamus, which is the thalamus of the flower. How is it so? Let's see. Thalamus में क्या होता है? The tip of the stem gets condensed. Like when a stem is growing, okay, it is differentiated into nodes and internodes. Clear? और यहाँ पे vertical, you can see the internodes vertical. अब इसी को आप चपटा कर दीजिए. So what happens? One node, another node. This becomes the thalamus and it bears the flower. और इन 4 नोड से 4 फ्लोरल होल्स निकलते हैं. One is the sepal, one is the petal, another is the androecium part, another is the gynoecium. Okay, and this forms the pedicel of the flower. This is the pedicel. Okay, so flower is nothing but a modified shoot, you can say now, right? Thalamus का आपने देख लिया, and thalamus is always formed by the terminal bud. ऊपर हो या side पे भी हो, even if it is a lateral bud, axillary bud, even if it forms a flower, then also it's terminal in the sense क्योंकि when the plant grows by the activity of meristem, right? तो you grow करते करते जाता है the meristem, and the meristematic point, the tip is always at the terminal most position. But when it grows, it leaves some of the meristem on the sides. तो ये terminal ये हुआ ना, जब when it was here, it left some of the meristematic cells here in the form of a bud. So that is why you can say that it is always the flower always arises, or thalamus is a modified shoot apical meristem. Clear? तो इसके बाद है leaf. So now after roots and stems, let's look into leaf. पत्ता क्या है? पत्ता obviously green, dissimilar exogenous flattened outgrowth or appendage at the nodes. Flattened exogenous क्यों कहा जाता है? Because you know this is the stem. ये लीफ का डेवलपमेंट फ्रॉम द इनसाइड इंटरनल लेयर्स ऑफ द ब्रांच ऑफ द स्टेम या ब्रांच से नहीं होता. लीव्स आर ऑलवेज, दिस इज द स्टेम, हियर इज द बड, इट इज ऑलवेज एक्सोजेनस, मीन्स आउटर लेयर से ही इट ग्रोज एज एन आउटग्रोथ और एन अपेंडेज. ओके, फ्लैटेंड आउटग्रोथ एंड अपेंडेज, एंड दे आर ऑलवेज बोर्न एट नोड्स. नोड्स पे ही आपको पत्ते मिलेंगे. Which perform photosynthesis, the most important function of the plants. Why are they green? They are green due to the presence of chlorophyll, and this is the pigment without which photosynthesis is not possible. And they are always arranged in acropetal order. There are 2 orders of arrangement. One is acropetal, another is basipetal. Acropetal में क्या होता है? The main axis, it continues its growth, and old to new. It continues its growth. It continues to grow, and it gives rise to leaves or flowers. जो भी case हो, laterally, oldest one is at the bottom and youngest one is at the top. That is acropetal. Leaves में हमेशा always this arrangement is seen. Another kind of arrangement is basipetal, in which the main axis stops to grow. ये और grow नहीं करता. इसका growth after some time बंद हो जाता है. And laterally, flowers or branches, they grow. ओके और यहाँ पे बात उल्टा है, यहाँ पे द ओल्डर ब्रांच और द ओल्डर फ्लावर इज एट द टॉप एंड द यंगेस्ट वन इज एट द बॉटम। ये हमें इन्फ्लोरेसेंसेस में देखने को मिलता है। क्लियर दीज टू काइंड ऑफ अरेंजमेंट। नाउ लीफ हैज एक्सिलरी बड इन इट्स एक्सिल। व्हाट इज द एक्सिल? ये स्टेम है, ये इसका नोड है। दिस इज द लीफ। ये जो एंगल बन रहा है ना, दिस इज कॉल्ड एक्सिल ऑफ द लीफ। ओके और यहां पे देयर इज ऑलवेज अ बड प्रेजेंट, दैट इज कॉल्ड द एक्सिलरी बड and that bud may either give rise to a, this is called the axillary bud, and it may give rise either to a flower or to a branch. Clear? Now let us look at the structure of a leaf. So पहले हम लीफ का स्ट्रक्चर देखते हैं। Let us look at what the different parts are called and then we will look into the different structures here. So let us begin. This part, the flattened part of the leaf which performs photosynthesis, उसको क्या बोलते हैं? This entire thing is called from here to here lamina or leaf blade. अब लीफ ब्लेड के अंदर क्या? These sides of the leaf is called the leaf margin. Okay? अब leaf margin can be straight, no cuts, no incision, or it can show some incisions. Okay? So ऐसा अगर देखने को मिलता है, then the margin is called serrated. With this part, the point at the last end is called the apex of the leaf. Okay, ये है, this is the mid vein, and these are the veinlets. मैं इसको रब कर देती हूँ, then it will be easy for me to. This is the mid vein, and they are the veinlets. Okay? ये जो part है, this part, this is the petiole, and this part with which attaches to the, यहाँ पे एक stem imagine कीजिए, to the branch or the stem, that is called the leaf base. Okay? The main photosynthetic part of the leaf is this leaf blade or leaf lamina. इसके अंदर the vascular, one big vascular bundle जो जा रहा है, main one, that is called the mid vein or the mid rib or mid rib, and it is branching. ये छोटे छोटे branches को क्या बोलते हैं? Veinlets. And as it branches, the diameter changes. इसका सबसे बड़ा diameter, it has the widest diameter, and the diameters keep on thinning out as you are moving from the center of the leaf to the margin. Okay? अब margin पे, अच्छा margin पे मैं बाद में जाऊंगी. Veinlets, midrib, what it does? The function of the midrib is conduction of water and prepared food, because it contains both xylem and phloem, right? Prepared food. Veinlets क्या करते हैं? They also do the job of conduction, plus they provide rigidity to the leaves. Petiole का function क्या है? It is attaches or connects the leaf between leaf base and lamina. Okay, and it allows to flutter, it allows the leaf to flutter. मतलब हवा में you the movement that it shows, so that allows cooling. And petiole is thin, flexible structure, right? फिर आते हैं लीफ बेस पे. दिस इज द बेस. बेस इज विथ विच द लीफ इज अटैच्ड टू द, मैं यहां पे लिखती हूँ और ऊपर दिस इज द लीफ बेस. लीफ बेस ये डाइकॉट पे ऐसा ही रहता है. दिस इज द पॉइंट ऑफ अटैचमेंट. ओके, पॉइंट ऑफ अटैचमेंट to the stem. Clear? In dicot it stays as it is, but in monocots ये expand कर जाते हैं तब, and they form a sheath around the stem. जो node पे है उसके नीचे से new they form a sheath. Okay? In dicots in leguminous plants, the leaf base swells. Okay, and that is called pulvinus. This is a modification of the leaf base in leguminous plants, and formation of sheath is the modification of the leaf base that we get to see in monocotyledons. अब आते हैं इनके margins पे. Margin can be entire, मतलब कोई काट छाट नहीं, it is straight simple, या it can show incisions. Now, incisions मतलब क्या? Cut. This cut can be of varying degrees. शायद कुछ margins पे ऐसे ही हो, but the lamina is entire, या तो फिर this incision would reach the midrib. ओके, और इसी बड़े एक लैमिना को इट डिवाइड्स इनटू स्मॉल लीफलेट्स. इन दैट केस द लीफ बिकम्स कंपाउंड. तो अब तक जो देख रहे थे हम, दिस वाज द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ अ सिंपल लीफ, बट व्हेन दिस इंसिशन रीचेस द मिडरिब and it divides it into many smaller leaf which is called leaflets, the leaf becomes compound. And one more thing very important is in a leaf, मैं इसको रब कर देती हूँ and then let me tell. So ये node से ये leaf, here you have the axillary bud. This is the axillary bud. Some leaves may bear a pair of leaf-like appendages or outgrowth which are called stipules. Okay, leaves with stipule stipulate, leaves, and leaves without stipule, exstipulate leaf. Exstipulate leaves. Clear? और यहाँ पे we have a petiole, but some leaves may be without petiole. They are directly attached to the branch or the stem. Those leaves are called sessile leaves. Okay? Now let us look into the structure of a compound leaf. अब तक हमने simple leaf देखा था, which was this, right? Now incisions या cuts have occurred, और ये this is the midrib, और इसके ऊपर ये छोटे छोटे पत्ते आ गए हैं. So this is the compound leaf. Here this midrib is now called the rachis. Okay, rachis is the midrib, and these small leaves are called leaflets. दिस इज द स्टेम और द ब्रांच। और जो एक्सिलरी बड होगा वो इट विल बी एट द बेस ऑफ द एंटायर लीफ। दिस एंटायर थिंग इज द कंपाउंड लीफ। ओके, जो एक्सिलरी बड होगा it will be present at the base of this petiole. This is the petiole now. Okay, at the base of the petiole of the entire leaf and not individual leaflets. इनके नीचे नीचे buds नहीं होंगे। और stipules भी अगर होना है तो वो भी at the base of the petiole होगा। Now, depending on how these leaves are arranged, compound leaf is also of two types. One is pinnately compound. Another is palmately compound. Pinnately compound यही structure है where this midrib keeps on growing and leaflets are attached laterally. Okay? ये हमें कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? आपके बुक में एग्जाम्पल है नीम, curry leaves, and many others are there. Then comes palmate leaf. यहाँ पे the leaflet are attached to one common point. It is like a palm. Okay? यहाँ पे जैसे the rachis was there and the leaflets were attached. यहाँ पे वो नहीं होता. On the petiole एक common point है and the leaves are attached to this. ये हमें कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Silk cotton. Okay? Venation of the leaves में. So venation of the leaves क्या है? The arrangement of the veins. Okay? So this is a dorsiventral leaf. Dorsiventral मतलब क्या? The dicot के पत्ते seen in dicot. This is a dorsoventral leaf. Seen mostly in dicots. Okay. यहाँ पे there is one midrib and there are small veinlets. और ये एक नेटवर्क फॉर्म करते हैं। They form a network. Such a network is called reticulate venation. ये हमें dorsoventral leaf in dicots पे अधिकतर देखने को मिलता है where the vein and the veinlets are forming a network. In monocots ये हमें कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? In monocots where the veinlets जहाँ पे ये veins जो है they are parallel to each other. ये कभी कभी हमें एक mid vein देखने को मिलता है and the side ones they are maintaining parallelity between them, या तो फिर they all are parallel. यहाँ पे mid vein का वैसा नहीं होता. This are seen in isobilateral leaf. What is an isobilateral leaves? Now, what is an isobilateral leaf? Dorsiventral क्या है? It has a upper surface, lower surface. वहां पे एक surface is facing the धूप और the sun, दूसरा surface no, it is always shaded underside. Isobilateral they are mostly, if not exactly erect, but उनका position ऐसा होता है and both the surfaces get equal amount of sunlight. Clear? कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? In monocots. और monocots में this kind of a venation is called parallel venation. Okay, where these veins run parallel to each other. Clear? So with this, I think we are done with all the aspects of leaves that are in your syllabus. Now let us look into the modifications of the leaf. और अब हम लीफ का अरेंजमेंट देखते हैं. हाउ आर दे अरेंज्ड ऑन अ स्टेम. अब हम अरेंजमेंट ऑफ द लीव्स ऑन अ स्टेम देखते हैं. So the arrangement of leaves on a stem is called phyllotaxy. वो कैसे arranged होता है? There are three types. Alternate. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? China rose, mustard and sunflower. These three examples are given in your syllabus. तो आप यही तीन याद कीजिए इससे बाहर. Usually जो examples आपके syllabus पे है वही examples आ सकते हैं. बाहर के बहुत ज्यादा नहीं आएंगे. Alternate means what? ये stem है. These are the nodes, right? एक one leaf from each node. and in opposite direction at successive nodes. उसको alternate बोलते हैं. एक बार यहाँ alternatively इधर, फिर alternatively उधर. Okay, that is alternate. यहाँ देखने को मिलता है. China rose, mustard and sunflower. Opposite means what? This is the node. These are the nodes. यहाँ दो पत्तियां facing each other, opposite. From one node comes here 2 leaves. From one node, right? And opposite to each other, or facing opposite to each other, or facing each other. This is opposite. यहाँ पे 1 leaf per node. Leaves of successive nodes in opposite direction or orientation, right? फिर आते हैं hold पे. Hold मतलब क्या? गुच्छा. This is the stem, these are the nodes. यहाँ पे more than 1 leaf comes out of the node. So more than, sorry, not more than 1, more than 2. More than 2 leaves from one node. Multidirectional. Multidirectional orientation. Clear? एक इधर, एक इधर, एक इधर. This is, so these 3 are the different type of arrangement of leaves or different phyllotaxis given in your syllabus. इसके बाद है modification of leaves. Let's see. So the leaf gets modified into thin thread-like structure that coils around, right? So depending on whether the whole leaf is being transformed या any other, या the petiole or what, it can be classified into 3 types. देख लेते हैं. The first is whole leaf. यहाँ पे the पूरा का पूरा पत्ता is transformed into the tendril. So this is going to be the, यहाँ पे जो leaf होना था, they have become tendrils. और जो stipules होते हैं, okay, they become foliaceous and they do the job of photosynthesis here. ये हमें कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Lathyrus apacha, which is the wild pea. फिर आते हैं leaflet tendrils पे. यहाँ पे this is the leaflet, right? ऊपर की कुछ पत्तियां, few upper leaves, they get transformed into tendrils. ये हमें कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Lathyrus odoratus, which is the sweet pea, and Pisum sativum, which is the garden pea. Clear? Then petioles. ये garden nasturtium में देखने को मिलता है. The petiole of the leaf gets modified into tendrils. Okay, so after tendril के modifications, let's look into other modifications. One of them is spine. ये cactus पे हमें बहुत देखने को मिलता है. Do you see this? Right? They are reduced leaves. They don't do photosynthesis anymore. They become very sharp, thin, pointed structures. उनका काम क्या होता है? Because they are not leaves anymore, so they reduce the transpiration and they protect the plant from grazing. Okay? Opuntia में देखने को मिलता है. Phyllodes. Do not confuse this with phyloclade. Phyloclade is a modification of stem and phylloid is that of a leaf. ये Australian acacia में देखने को मिलता है where the leaf, the lamina is absent. The petiole becomes flattened, broad and it performs photosynthesis. फिर leaf pitchers in Nepenthes, you know, the carnivorous plant. The leaf assumes the structure of a pitcher to trap the insects. Nepenthes में देखने को मिलता है. And then leaf bladderwort. Leaf bladders, ये कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Bladderworts, which is called Uticularia. This is an aquatic carnivorous plants. यहाँ पे भी you can see small bladder-like structures which are nothing but modified leaves. Succulent leaves. Aloe, agave, bryophyllum, protuleca. The leaf becomes thickened and juicy. It stores mucilage, food, water. Okay. फिर एक है bryophyllum में. It does the job of a propagation also. Bryophyllum के पत्ते अगर मिट्टी पे गिर जाए या after certain time of maturity, like this is the patta of a bryophyllum, you would see small plantlets coming out from the edges of the leaf. So bryophyllum is a leaf which shows two modifications. First, that it is a succulent leaf because it stores water, thick mucilage, and it helps in propagation also. Clear hai? So with this we are done with leaf. So हमने leaf में क्या क्या पढ़ा? The structure of a simple leaf, which includes the leaf base, petiole, lamina, midvein, veinlets, and the apex of the leaf. And leaf के axil पे क्या होता है? Always an axillary bud. And some of the leaves may contain paired or one pair of leaf-like appendage, which is called stipules, right? And that is in addition to the axillary bud. Leaf base modified monocot में क्या होता है? They become a leaf sheath and they wrap the internode below it. And in leguminous family, leaf base becomes swollen and that is called pulvinous. फिर simple leaf से we come to compound leaf where the lamina is divided into many spawn leaflets. Midrib is the rachis there, और वहाँ पे depending on whether वहाँ पे क्या है, एक pinnate है, दूसरा palmate है. And palmate it is attached at one point to the petiole, और यहाँ पे the many leaflets are laterally arranged in the rachis. फिर इनके modifications हमने देख लिए हैं. These are the modifications where they show modification either in the form of tendril or they become succulent. They do the function of propagation, or the petiole becomes photosynthetic जैसे Australian acacia में है. And then venation भी in dicot it is reticulate. Reticulate means what? Network like. Reticulate venation, and monocot it is parallel venation. So that was a quick wrap up of leaf. हमने जो जो पढ़ा, तो सारे के सारे vegetative parts, roots, stems, leaves and their modifications are done. अब मैं flower में जाऊंगी, but before I go to flower, आपने ये वीडियो अब तक लाइक किया है कि नहीं? If you have not liked the video, please this is the time for you to like this video now and please subscribe to my channel. And flower का we will do it in the next video. I hope you are liking my videos and please subscribe to my channel. I need that support and motivation from you. And I'm going to see you in the next video where we will be covering flower inflorescence and other things that is given in your syllabus. Okay? So bye for now, students.